Hey guys, welcome to Together We Can Cook. Tonight I'm going to be making some sugar cookies, and I thought that you guys might want to hang out with me for a little bit and keep me company. I'm going to start out with some softened butter. I softened it up in the microwave. It's not totally melted, it's just soft enough to work through our dough. And it was 2/3 cup. So I have that in here. And next thing we're going to add is some sugar. And my recipe says 3/4 of a cup. So I'm going to measure 3 of these and get these right on in. I usually make these sugar cookies a few times a year. You can use any kind of cookie cutter and cut them out for any type of occasion. So I have all different cookie cutters. A couple times I actually made them into tractor cookies for my son's birthday when he was younger. Now that we have our sugar in, I'm going to move on to the baking powder. And the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You have to be careful that you're using baking powder and not baking soda in this recipe. And this is one of my favorite things, that these cans here have a little measuring thing. It makes it so much easier to measure. And the next ingredient is salt. I usually put way less salt than what the recipe calls for. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit. We're not big salt people in this house. So salt is on in there. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So here's our vanilla, and I'm going to use the same teaspoon. And in it goes. And I am going to head on over to the fridge to get some of the other ingredients. I'll be back in 1 second. I'm back with my next set of ingredients. We're going to move on to the milk. We only need 1 tablespoon of milk. And we're going to do 2 cups of flour. So let's measure it out. Okay, there's 1. And let's do 1 more. Okay, number 2 going in. And we need 1 egg. I'm going to crack it in a separate bowl, just like I always do, just in case there's something wrong with this egg, but there hasn't been in a long time. Okay, there's our 1 egg. So I'm going to add that on in, and I think that is everything that we need to make this sugar cookie dough. So let's get mixing. I'm just going to start out by using my hands to smush everything together. I'm going to put it like this so you guys can see. It's coming together actually really nice because we had that softened butter. That makes a really big difference. So I'm just going to squish everything together in here. And we are going to have to flour this cutting board that's under the bowl. And then we can use our cookie cutter and cut out whatever shapes we want. Today I am going to just be using a basic cookie cutter. I think it's just like a flower. I was looking for something kind of symmetrical because I bought these candied cherries, and I have never made these cookies with candied cherries before, but I wanted to put the cherry in the middle of the cookie. And I couldn't figure out which dough I was going to use, and this is just a basic dough. So I thought this would be the best one, and we'll just test this out together. Okay, this is coming together nicely. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to make sure that I get everything up from the bottom of this bowl so that it's mixed evenly. I can smell the vanilla and the sugar. It smells so good. All right, so the dough is all ready. What I'm going to do here is just sprinkle some flour. I'm just going to spread it out. And here's how much dough we got. Sometimes I actually make a double batch of this. I've had parties in the past where I've gave these cookies out as like a little favor. You can use any kind of cookie cutter that you'd like. So you can customize these in so many different ways. All right. So what I did was I put some flour on the top, and I'm going to take the rolling pin and roll it out. And we don't want it too thick, and we don't really want it too thin. So I gave it a nice roll, and I am going to take, if I can reach it, here is my cookie cutter. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a flower, and I'm gonna cut out the first cookie. Let me move this out of our way. Here is the first one. Okay, I'm going to try to get some of the excess flour off. Here's our cookie. And I'm going to just place it on the pan and move on to the next one. I'm going to go with all flours this time so that all the cookies are uniform and look the same. So there's number 2. I always try to get as many as I can get out of this dough, because every time you roll it out, you're picking up a little more flour and a little more flour until the dough is going to get kind of dry, like for every time that you pick up more flour and roll it out. So I just got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have no more room for the cookie cutter. So I'm going to try to put this back in a bowl so that there's no little creases. And I can tell that it's drier already just from the first time. So we're going to do just like we did before. Want some flour on top and on bottom. And we're going to roll it out. Not too thick, not too thin. And we're going to take our cutter and see, I want to say we're only going to get 2 out of here. Try to get the extra flour off. And number 2. Okay. Okay, so there's 6 on the pan. I'm going to go back to the bowl and grab a little more dough. Maybe I'm going to cut this in half. Little more dough. Let's smear our flour around. And I'm going to try to mesh these together. Make it nice and even. And I'm going to put it down and get up some of this flour right on top. And I might switch my camera right overhead so that you guys can get a little bit of a better view. Here's our overhead view of the sugar cookies. I'm just going to roll this out just like we did before. Not too thick, not too thin. Let's get it nice and rolled out. Okay. And we're going to take our cookie cutter and start cutting out the cookies just like we were doing before. So we got our nice little flowers here. Here's number 2. Okay, we're going to keep cutting out the cookies just like before. We are going to try to get as many flowers out of this as we can so that we don't have to keep re-rolling it. And I think that's just about it for this. Let's squish all this back together. Squish, squish, squish. We don't want any creases in here. Let's put the flour back. After I get whatever I get off of this one, I'm actually gonna, there's still more in the bowl actually. So I'm gonna go back to the bowl, add that into this, and let's see what we get. All right, let's do a couple more. Okay. Now I have 2 pans full. So maybe we could switch over and test out this recipe with those candied cherries. We'll test it together. I'm hoping that they stick to the cookies. Okay, so here's all we have left of the dough. So let's get this formed. I'm probably only going to float 2 pans at a time in the oven. So we have this. I'm actually going to put the bowl over it like this to keep it moist. And let's switch over. I'm going to put this aside and bring this on in. Here are the cookies. And I'm going to grab the cherries. So these are candied cherries that I got in the supermarket. So my idea was to put one in the middle like that, like it's a flower. I kind of want to put more because I love these things. I don't know, guys. Do you think we could put more than one? Will it look ridiculous? Or do we care? Do we just want good cookies? Should we try more than one? Make it look silly, but it will taste good? I don't know. Let's see how many we can fit. Oh my god, this one's ridiculous. I don't know if they're even going to stick. I'm hoping that these things stick here. Okay. There's 5. This one, to me, looks prettier than this one. But I love these cherries. I guess it doesn't matter. Who's going to know, right? Just me and all of YouTube that I made ugly cookies covered in cherries. Okay, I'm going to keep doing it like this. I actually bought 3, I think, of these 2 of them are candied cherries and one of them is something else. I don't even remember what it was. Some kind of candied fruit. The supermarket had all of the stuff out for the holidays. So I went kind of berserk and I bought like a whole bunch of stuff, figuring that we could make something out of all of it. They sell these cookies in the supermarket already made with these cherries. I have never seen them with more than one. So these are like crazy, but I love these. I could just eat them right out of the thing. Who knows how much sugar is in this between the sugar and the cookies and the sugar in these candied cherries. But I really just can't resist. So we're going to put, what do I have? 5 on each one. Let's do the last one. I'm going to pause you guys while I repeat this on the other pan, and then we're going to go over to the oven. It's already been heating for quite a while now. So the oven is on 350. So we're going to bring this over, and I'm going to sit over there in the kitchen because I don't want them to burn. I don't think these are going to take too long to cook at all. So let's cherry up the other ones and go over to the stove. Here's pan number 1. I am going to start it off maybe on the top rack. And pan number 2, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put them in the middle. Maybe I'm going to put them like this. 1 in the middle on the top, 1 in the middle on the bottom. And maybe after a few minutes, I'll just give them a little switch. All right, let's let them bake, and we'll be back in a second to check on them. It's been 10 minutes. They're not quite done yet, but what I'm going to do is put the one that was on the bottom on top and vice versa. And I'm going to close up the oven and set the timer for 5 more minutes, and we'll see how they look at that point. It's been 20 minutes. Here's what our crazy cherry cookies look like. I am going to do my best to get them off this pan in one piece and put them on these cooling racks. And then I'm going to go back over to that dough that we had covered up so it wouldn't dry out. And I am going to continue till we get rid of all the dough. And I'm probably going to have to open up another container of the cherries because we used a million of them. And here's our second pan, all set. I'm just going to leave them here to cool while I go back and work on some more. So while you guys weren't looking, I decided to make some of these into sugar cookies. These kind of actually remind me of Mardi Gras with the colors. I had all this powdered sugar already on hand, so I just figured I'd use some of it. And I wanted to be able to tell you guys how long these cookies take if they're sugar cookies and not these cherry ones. So the cherry ones took 20 minutes in the oven at 350, and these sugar cookies still cooked at 350, but they only took 15 minutes. So I wanted to be able to tell you guys in case you wanted to have your pick. I guess these crazy cherry cookies took 5 minutes longer because look at them, they're absolutely covered. I actually snuck one of the sugar cookies. There was one extra one that wouldn't fit on this rack. So I snuck one and ate it, and it was so good. I don't know if it's just like a comfort thing for me because I've been making these for so long, or if they really are that good, but I absolutely love them. We're having some people over tomorrow and Sunday. I'm anticipating all these cookies are going to be gone in no time. Okay, guys, that just about wraps up the cookie video for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed your time with me. Let me know if you try this recipe, and if you made it this far, I really appreciate you staying to the end. Happy cooking!